Spearmen, or anti-large units. Those often tasked with protecting the rest of your army from anything coming round the flanks, be it cavalry or monsters. It's not an easy job by any means, but with this simple tactic we can help protect our flanks that little bit better. So perhaps this is a scenario you constantly find yourself in, especially if you're a newer player. You'll get heavily overrun on one side from cavalry, from monsters, flying units, and you're not really sure what to do about it. Well, flanking is one of the simplest and most powerful tactics in the game and should be in play in pretty much every single battle. Knowing how to do it and knowing how to defend it are both equally important. So what can we do when we get a heavy cavalry attack coming down one side? And of course, there is a degree of army composition luck with all this, but this simple tactic can help prevent us from ending up like these poor artillery boys. So this tactic all begins as soon as the battle does. You take a look at the enemy army composition, what units they've got, and where they are. Now this is just an example battle, but we can see on the left that there's some cavalry coming down that side and there's nothing on the right to worry about. So I can send my spearmen over to help this one unit of halberds because they're going to struggle to deal with 2 units of cavalry. And then I'm just going to create a wall with them. I'm going to line them up so that the cavalry can't get through. And I can just move them round as the cavalry come round. It's really that simple. There it is, that's your tactic. Probably not what you were expecting, maybe you were expecting something fancier, but you'll be surprised how well this simply works. Just creating a wall that the cavalry can't get through other than going through the spearmen. Now, while it seems like a simple and obvious tactic, it's surprising how many people don't actually do it from what I've seen. They often seem unwilling to move their anti-large units to a side where is more appropriate for them for some reason. If there's a lot of something coming down one side, move a lot of the best counter for it to that side. There's no reason to have spearmen on the left if there's no cavalry or monsters on the left, for example. It can take a fair bit of micromanagement, but against the AI it works a treat because they're not really smart enough to actually go round it, so they'll very often just charge into your large units. So if you're a campaign player like the majority of players are, you'll probably find that this tactic works a treat for you, as the AI are very easy to pull it off on. I find they either stupidly charge their cavalry into your spearmen and just leave them there, or they just don't engage at all and just leave their cavalry out wide for most of the match while the rest of their army gets killed. So against the AI, this shifting wall tactic works a treat, I think. Against human players, it's a little bit of a different story. It can definitely work and is definitely one of the best ways to defend against heavy flanking attacks. Although ultimately, like I said, it's going to depend on army composition a lot, which will affect how well you'll be able to deal with this flanking threat. For example, here I've got 3 Centaurs that look like they're coming down my left side, so I'm going to move all my anti-large over there. Well, not all of it, but a good amount of it over there to defend. Then those Centaurs are going to be pulled across the other side. This is against a human player, by the way. This is an old 3v3 battle. They're going to start to come around the flank and they're going to get right behind me, which is fine, but I've still got plenty of spearmen to try and keep them at bay. I've got some clan rats, I've got some halberds coming over, and it's just keeping them away while I kill the rest of their army. These Centaurs aren't doing a great deal. So it can be great against those lighter, more squishy cavalries, as people will be more hesitant to charge them in against your shifting spear wall. But if they are some pretty heavy cavalries like Reichsguard or Dragon Princes or Cold One Riders, they're a little bit tougher and probably will plow through you quite easily. And it's not unbeatable by any means, this tactic. A decent player will be able to beat it quite comfortably by either finding the gaps in the hole as they appear and trying to sneak through them as quick as possible before the spearmen get a hold of them. Don't forget, both players are microing all over the place while this is going on. Or you can simply just run all the way around the other side and you'll outrun the spearmen with your cavalry or monsters, and they won't even be able to catch you, and you'll be able to go around and hammer and anvil the crap out of everything unless there's something else there to defend it. So it's a beatable tactic, of course, like any tactic really, but it's just about shifting and adapting your little spear protection flanking line to match the enemy as they come. Just another step towards being an adaptive Total War player, which is a very essential step indeed. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the future.